everyone, this is a video response to an inquiry from Wendy who wanted to know how to use mail merge to do some thank you note cards. So here we go. So here's a little database I made, and you can see that we have first name, last name. I have a PS or postscript on each one to make it personal. It could be within the body of the note card. However you want to use mail merge, everything works fine and the same as you would expect with this tutorial. The thing about the note cards is that there are two note cards on a standard sheet of 8.5 by 11. They're side by side. So as we put the note card through the printer one time to get the printed thank you, hello on one side, we would have to reverse the order of the printing when we wanted to duplex that to get the proper name matched with the inside greeting. Otherwise it would be reversed on each one. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, try it one time, you'll completely understand. But basically on the outside it would say thank you Dan, but then inside it would be the note to Sandy Beach because of the duplexing thing. So what we would do is run the mail merge twice, once to print the inside part and once to print the outside part. The important thing is that we have to reverse the order of printing when we run it through the second time. So what was first is now second. What was second is now first. So you're thinking, okay, I can do that, but what if I have hundreds of people that I'm thanking? That's why we're using mail merge. This is a really small sample, but I'm going to show you a little formula in Excel to help you with that. So if I click in B4 in this example, the next number here should be number 4 because we're doing it in reverse order for the second card. So 3 and 4 should be reversed. So if I type an equal sign, that starts a formula, and I'm going to click B2, which is the number 2, and I'm going to add the value of 2 to that. So I get the number 4. Okay? And then here in B5 it should be the number 3. So if I look at the pattern, it's just 2 cells above, add 2. 2 cells above, add 2. It's not a complex formula. So if I just take this and hover over the autofill square and drop this down, okay, you'll see that this formula has now afforded me the ability to do this auto numbering the way I want. And if I were to auto number over here and choose fill series, okay, you can see that 5 and 6, 6 and 5, 7 and 8, 8 and 7, okay, and so on and so on. So I just didn't finish the 17-18 set. Alrighty, so we don't need all these, but that's a great sample for you. And one other thing that you may want to do when you're sure you want to replace a formula with the actual numbers, it will usually mail merge just fine, but just in case you want just those numbers and not the formula, what we'll do is we'll just select all of column B, so that would be if we had all of these here. We'll go to the home ribbon, we'll choose the copy icon, or Control C to copy, but you want to go to the paste drop down and choose paste values. Okay, so this is in a newer version of Excel, there's paste values, or if you go to the paste special you get the old window and you just choose values and OK. So this will just keep in the cell rather than the formula that you made. It'll keep the value that was returned for that formula at the time. Okay, so great. So this is all ready to go. I'm going to save it and I'm going to close it now. And here is my sample with my note cards. Okay, so my note cards were the sample that Wendy gave me was 4 inches by 8.5 inches. So that was telling me that her note cards were coming across the page, or that I should flip my page landscape. In previous versions of mail merge I've explained that labels are tables, tables are labels, so life is good. You can make any table into a label, so I just measured this out, but I'm sure there is an Avery label that's close to that. Now you'll see I have some margin here, alright, and I have some margin on the other side. So I want to insert a new column here. I want one to the left, okay. And we want this to be smaller. Okay, we need this to make up for our margins on the left and right, which I've set at 0.5. Okay, so I'm just dragging it around so you can get an idea of what this would look like, but I'm going to be more precise. So if I come here, I'm going to make my column, okay, that says 3.5 by 5 inches wide, and this is 4.63. Okay, so I'm going to do 4.75 here and 4.75 here. Okay. But as I recall, Wendy's width was 4 inches, so I'm going to make it just like hers because this is all about Wendy. So this is going to be 4 inches wide by 4 inches wide. And then I'm going to assume that her margins were larger because you can see that, you know, this is pretty wide margins right now. So I'm going to make that 1 inch in the middle. And I'm going to change my page layout margin. Well, I can just move my whole table over using the drag option. Okay. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to actually change my margin from the top a bit more as well. And again, if this was your project, you would want to measure it really carefully, but I'm just doing this sort of on the fly. I have my grid lines showing on my table tools in design. If I turned off my grid lines, you see how disconcerting this would be because you don't see the table at all. Okay, so we want to have our grid lines on. They don't print, but they're very nice guides for us. And if you think about a note card, when you open it, this top part is blank and the text is at the bottom. But when we're looking at mail merge, it always looks in the first label cell, the first table cell, whatever, when it's making labels. So we need to put our data here, but we'll make an edit in a little bit. Okay, I have one other thing I want to add, and that's I made a cute little signature for Night and Gale, and I'm going to go to my insert a picture and go to my desktop and find the signature. Okay. So it's too big, and that's fine. I want to show you how you control images next to word text. Some people have problems with that. Okay. For one thing, I'm going to have it come, there are lots of different ways that you can choose it. If I say in front of text, you'll see that it actually comes on top of the entire cell. And for this, I want to keep it in the table cell. So I'm going to choose tight. Okay, tight gets it as close as it can without overlapping. The inline text sometimes gives too much bumper space around it. So now I'm going to crop out some of the background. And this is just a simple cropping tool when you have any picture selected. And I know it's gigantic right now. I'm doing that for a reason so you can see what I'm doing. I'll take the crop off. And I know that you can't see it right now, but there is a white background behind this text. Okay, oops, I cropped off a little bit of the letter Y. So you can always go back and pull it out a little more. So I'm going to go on the formatting for this picture tool and go to color and set a transparent color. And I can click the background and then one color will go away. So I don't know if you can see it now, but you can, the text is actually coming into that box. Alright. So of course we don't like it up here, so we're going to hit enter to get it down like that. Alright. And that looks pretty good. Okay. If we wanted to, we could change the setting one more time and have it be in front of text. And now that it's all in that cell, it should stay there, but we can actually, you know, have the signature come over top of the printed a little bit to make it look like it's not quite so fake. And notice with this sample, I also used blue ink. You always want to use blue ink when you're doing this so that it looks more realistic, or purple, or whatever color that your boss likes. But black will look more like a generated image. Okay, so here we go. This will fool people at first glance. I am just being persnickety. Okay, so the other thing I want to do here is I'm just going to bring this down. Oops. I'm going to undo because I was out of the cell. Some people don't realize that you can put space above a table. If you've ever started a page and put a table on it and then wanted to put text above it like a title, I've seen people delete the table. As long as you're in the very first cell at the very top, you can hit the up arrow on your keyboard and you'll be out of the table. So there's all kinds of extra things in this video, so I hope people really enjoy this one. So I'm just going to bring that down a little bit. Okay. So now I'm going to actually start my mail merge. I'll just save this file, and now I go to mailings, start mail merge, and I'm going to choose labels. Even though it's a thank you note, I'm choosing labels because I have more than one version of it on a page. So we're going to trick it out and call it a label. I'm not going to use any of these samples, but I'm going to just hit cancel. And the big deal about that is that enables this update labels option. If we don't choose labels and get that going, we can't put the merge information into these other cells. Okay, so I am going to select my recipients. I'm going to use an existing list just like we always do. And I'm going to go to the desktop and choose the thank you database. Okay, sheet 1 is fine. Okay, so now I have my merge fields. I'm going to click here and say dear, and here's my field, and I'm going to say the first name, and then down here I'm going to insert my PS. Great. Alright, so now I will, and if I wanted to preview it, I could see what it would look like. Alright, and maybe I even want this to look a little more personal, so I could italicize it and even put in a different font if I wanted. Okay, and I'll scooch this up just a little bit. Alrighty, so now if I come back to mailings, I'll update labels, and you'll see that comes into all of the big label spaces. Word is smart enough to know to skip these smaller cells. Alright, so if I were to preview the results right now, oh, I can see that this text was longer and it's going on to the next page, so that means I need to make an adjustment. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the preview, and I'm going to take my PS, and that font I chose was kind of nice, but I'm going to make the font a little smaller. So when I make a change, I always have to update the labels, and then you see that that font change hits all your cells. So now when we go to preview, yes, it does fit, and it doesn't roll down to the next page. All right. So if you had a longer selection, or you knew that there was something that had a longer name, you could just skip to that record and preview it up in here. All right, that's fine, except, you know, we only want it to show up in the cells down here. Okay, so let's take off the preview results, and we're just going to get rid of this in the upper cells. And then in this first cell down here, you'll see that the mail merge always starts with next record when it gets to anything but the first cell. So in order to start on the first record and not skip it, we have to get rid of the word next record. Okay, and there we go. And now let's preview the results. Okay, and you can see that this is up one higher because I also got rid of the return. And I'll preview the results. So that's looking good. Alright, so what I can do now is I can finish and merge, and I'll say edit individual documents because I always like to preview before I send it to a printer. And of course I would need to update the date so it's a real date. Okay, but there we have the 4 cards ready to be printed out. So there are the thank you cards. to do the front part of the card. All right, I'm going to just minimize this, and I'm going to use this. I'll just save this template in case I wanted to use it again. Okay, and we'll just say inside. And now we'll work on the outside. So if you think about the outside of the card, all right, when you flip it over, when you open a card, the more you think about it, the more difficult it is. But the greeting is on the front of the card at the exact same place that the inside message is. But when we flip this over to duplex it, we're going to have to reverse Dan and Sandy. And we're going to have to reverse each set. We've already taken care of that with the numbering, so that's wonderful. So what we'll do is make this the front of a note card. You know, we'll say thank you, and we can put their whole name if you want it. We couldn't do it without you. And you can put a picture on this and, you know, make it really nice and fancy and however you want, because everybody uses color printers now, so even though it's expensive, it lets you have the full ability to adjust your message however you want. Okay, so, and we couldn't do it without you, and bold and italics. Okay. Now I want the person's name here. Okay, so I will go to my mail merge, mailings, start mail merge. Now this already knows it's a label. Okay, so, and it's already selected the recipients. This is great. Now we're going to edit the recipient list. This is terrific. Okay, all we're going to do now is sort by the outside numbers. So now it's going to print in the outside number order. And we click OK. And for this one, we're going to insert the first name and the last name. Okay. And notice this is in a different order now. This used to be Dan and now it's Sandy. Okay, because when we flip this over and print on the duplex side, it's going to match up. You just have to try it once and then you'll say, oh, that woman is brilliant. I should subscribe to her YouTube channel. Anyway, so we're going to pick this and make it purple. And you're going to make this look much better graphically. But now if we go to mailings, we hit update. Oops. And I'm going to hit undo. Because as I said in the first time around, when you do mail merge, it looks at the first cell. So we're going to update, it rolls it all out. I'm going to take off the preview. Okay. We're going to get rid of the ones in the top cells and get rid of this little next record here. And if we go back to mailings and preview, now we have it. So then we can finish and merge, edit individual documents, okay. And now we're ready to send this through the printer to print the other side of the thank you notes. So thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you found this helpful. But this is how you can use mail merge to generate lots of personal note cards very, very quickly. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. And you can see more of my videos on my YouTube channel or visit my website www.sandymcveigh.com.